There's only two men who can save the world right now, Donald Trump and President Putin. Long live these two men. Supported Putin from the start. Anybody who was awake could see the WEF were making up lies about that man from day one. Putin is a president who supports and stands up and fights for his own people, like the one that we have. Man will win, mark my words, he already has. Honestly, sweetheart, the power is in the people coming together against these psychopaths that are running the rest of our countries. We all stand up, the game is over. We've already won. Love you, lad.
This is the ultimate surveillance tool, isn't it?
Absolutely, and anonymity isn't even the worst of our problems. The worst of our problems is the fact that it's going to be programmable. Because it is digital, it means the money can be programmed to be spent in any way in which the central bank or the government decides. So one of my particular concerns is the World Economic Forum, because they're talking about implementing a carbon allowance. Now this means each individual will be given a certain amount of, whether it's credit or whatever it is, carbon that they are allowed to emit. And how do they implement that? Through a central bank digital currency. So if I buy too many plane tickets, or if I buy too much meat, because those things are all supposedly very bad for the environment, my money when I go to fill up my car could then be declined. So now they're literally controlling what we can and can't do with our money. It's also important to realize that the money can expire. So during times of economic uncertainty, central banks love to print lots and lots of money, which causes inflation. But we could get to a point where they say, instead of printing money, you have to spend at least 10% of your savings in the next 3 months. If you don't spend that money in the next 3 months, then that money is going to expire. And if you can't save money, well, then you can't build long-lasting generational wealth. You're always going to be a slave to the system. And, you know, I don't think people really understand the severity of this. Money is literally the energy which fuels your life. If you don't have freedom of money, you don't have freedom of anything. You know, Dan, I know you talk about the Second Amendment. You know, if they don't need to necessarily get rid of the Second Amendment, but they can just say they can program your money so that you can't actually go and buy a gun. So again, it really is the most tyrannical form of surveillance we will ever see. When they control the money, they control the world.
This is why I love your podcast. I honestly think you're one of the few people that gets the threat from these digital currencies. I only got about 30 seconds left, but just quickly, the Bank of England, despite being in a massive inflationary global crisis, has decided they're going to start printing more money through a quantitative easing program. This isn't going to stop this inflation crisis. The minute the politics heat up, they just start printing again.
Absolutely. The more debt that we get into, the only way to get out of it is to continue printing money. They announced tax cuts. They announced that they're going to be deregulating the market, which caused the crash. And as a result, because there's no more, they're not going to be collecting as much money because of the tax cuts, they're going to have to borrow more money, more debt. How do you solve that? Printing more money.
Secret societies exposed. Did you know that a lot of African American people are actually just American people? Yeah, just American people, Indigenous American people, Native American people, Aboriginal American people, organic to the land American people. I'm going to tell you a little story. Once upon a time, long ago, long before any honkies, pale faces, or crackers existed on the planet Earth, dark-skinned, woolly-haired, heavily melanated beings inhabited every square inch of the planet Earth, long before the land masses even shifted. One more time. Dark-skinned, woolly-haired, heavily melanated beings inhabited every square inch of the planet Earth, long before the continents even shifted. So in 1492, when Christopher Columbus and his Spanish conquistador buddies came over here under the Spanish Inquisition and the doctrine of discovery and discovered a land that had already been inhabited for millions of years, that had a highly developed, highly advanced civilization already here, they found highly melanated, woolly-haired, copper-complected people, the organic to the land original people of the Americas, with a highly developed civilization. There's actually more pyramids on this side than there is on that side. In fact, the pyramids over here are older than the ones at Giza. The pyramids over here are older than the ones at Giza. You know what the original name for Mexico City is? Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan. Tehuti. Thoth, the Egyptian god, the Pyramid of the Sun, Quetzalcoatl, Tahuti Wakan. That's right. That's why a lot of your African American friends, if you ask them about their ancestry, they'll tell you that they're Creek or Cherokee or Blackfoot, or they have Indian in their family. That's right, because most so-called African American people are actually American people, Native American people, Aboriginal American people, organic to the land American people. Secret societies exposed.